Hi there, in this video I'm going to talk to you about the challenges that I believe we face as autistic and ADHD females in current society. I'm Nikki Butler, also known as the Autistic Joyologist, and my belief is we still live in an extremely misogynistic society and also a very ableist society. Now, I was diagnosed autistic and ADHD in my mid-40s, and having that diagnosis has helped me reflect on life through a very different lens. And I'm often asked why it is that I speak about females and not about all people that are autistic and ADHD. And that's because I believe that the experiences are very different. That's my personal opinion, that's my lived experiences. So not only is it very challenging being autistic and ADHD and not having that diagnosis till my mid-40s, that was very much based on the fact that the diagnostic criteria and the studies are around boys. So of course, as a female, I don't present as a young boy, and it was overlooked that I was autistic and ADHD for over 4 decades, yet looking back through school reports and recalling events and things that happened during my life, there is a lot of evidence that now supports the fact that I was neurodivergent. We're still in a society that has that criteria that is based on boys. You've still got girls that are going through diagnosis based on that gender bias criteria. And it's interesting to me that the average age for a female to be diagnosed autistic or ADHD is 30s to 40s. For males, it's 7. So there's some fundamental changes that need to be made to both create a better understanding of the difference in experiences that females have being autistic and ADHD. And whilst there's more discussion around this, that criteria is not changing, and the societal perceptions, in my view, are not changing, certainly not quick enough or radically enough. Because for me, I don't want our future generations to be repeating the lived experiences that I've had. My life has been incredibly difficult and it didn't need to have been. I don't subscribe to the opinion and belief that I'm part of a lost generation, which I know lots of people are talking about, because we only know what we know at the time. That's my opinion. But we are coming to a new understanding, and every woman to this point that was autistic and ADHD but undiagnosed is essentially a lost or unsupported generation. So this is really a time where we can embrace and gain a much better understanding of those lived experiences for everybody that's neurodivergent. And that's not just autism and ADHD, that's other neurodivergences such as Tourette's, such as dyscalculia, dyslexia, but it's about having that understanding of the true lived experiences. We do still very much live in an ableist society, and that in some respects blows my mind, because we have many laws to protect inclusivity, diversity, and the truth is that that's not what is happening in practice. And interestingly, I've done lots of studies and research around this, that these studies come from this century, that whilst we have policies in place around equality and diversity and inclusion, that the reality is that managers often won't employ somebody that they know to be disabled or neurodivergent, with ADHD being up there as one of the main things that people steer away from, because they look not at the benefits that somebody that's autistic or ADHD or has any other disability can bring to an organisation, but at the cost to the organisation. So what will they have to do to put support in place? How difficult will it be? How much extra work is that going to be? And so whilst there may be law to protect somebody, the reality of those decisions that are being made at a ground level are very different. We do still live in an ableist society where, the world is set up to support people that are perceived as able, and the belief system around anybody that is disabled or neurodivergent is often that we are less in some way, we're less intelligent, we're less able, we're less capable, when the reality is that we have different skills and different value to bring. So it's like a very noisy society, but actions are not following the words that people are putting out there and the messages that are putting out there. And then I look at the side of it from the misogynistic society that I still very much believe that we live in. And for neurodivergent, autistic and ADHD girls, not only are we battling the diagnostics being based on males, we're battling the fact that we're living in an ableist society. We are also dealing with the misogynistic society we're living in and the issues around the disparity between pay. And again, there's legislation to report this, but from my own personal experience back in my corporate days, we're talking 2010-ish, I discovered that I was being paid considerably less than my male equivalents within an organisation. And I had to fight for a pay increase and it still wasn't matched to my male peers. That isn't that long ago. I look at the research for investment in female founder organisations. It is woefully below the investment funding that is put into male-led organisations. You look at the women that are in positions of senior management or within bigger organisations, it is still very heavily men. And research suggests that the assumption is that women will leave to have a family, won't work as long hours, aren't as committed. Also drives into that, the stress makes you more successful, it's like a badge of honour, and that women simply can't and won't live up to those working standards. It's so multifaceted and multi-layered, and that for me is one of the core reasons that I want to be a spokesperson for female autistic and ADHD women, not just to improve our experiences now, to change the narrative and the understanding, and to start to get society to understand the value, the strengths, and that we are not less because we are female or neurodivergent, that there's so much value that can be had from having female founders, female leaders, neurodivergent founders and leaders. That's where the innovation change really happens within organisations. And the biggest part of me doesn't want our future generations of girls to have these same lived experiences. I cannot believe that I am still seeing the same patterns from when I was in my 20s coming up now that I'm in my 40s, despite the legislation, despite all the noise around, equality, diversity, inclusion. It's not there. It's the empty words, the hollowness and the noise is not backed up by the action. I really feel strongly that we need to do something about this. I would love to hear from you if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, by all means reach out, let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know whether you feel we're doing enough to change the narrative around autism and ADHD and what those lived experiences truly are. Let me know whether you agree with the fact that we're still very much in a male bias society, where it's created to support men and we still don't have that equality and inclusivity for women. Love to hear your thoughts on that. It's something I feel passionately about. I can continue to talk about. Please reach out if you have any comments or thoughts, and I look forward to seeing you soon.